media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers. Although we think they should, but that's the opinion of American Matters.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Hey, welcome and back. It's Talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio, and we're broadcast all over the world.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't leave the world out.
No, we wouldn't want to leave the world out. And my name is Brendan Trainor. I'm an award-winning writer here in Nevada, and we have Leland Faegre with us. And next to the board, operating the switches, Shanimal Lawson.
Hold your horses, Shanimal.
I am here.
By the way, I saw one wild horse on my way through Washoe Valley today.
Did you?
One wild horse. That's it. Normally, there's like 3 dozen of them in there.
You're no longer evacuee.
I am I am home. I got the green light on Saturday afternoon. I left the Truckee Meadows Sunday midday, but I mean that's a lot of work, man. I left with a lot of gear because you don't know what's
right.
And I'm just now putting wall coverings back, and it was like moving effectively.
I know. But nobody likes to move.
Nope, no fun.
No. So I guess we should start by covering Afghanistan a little bit. The Taliban says that they're consolidating their hold on the government, and they say that they offered to bring the rebels in that one northern province back into the fold, but they refused.
They tried to bring them back in the fold with what? Surface-to-air missiles?
One of the warlords has got a special reason to keep fighting because he's reputed to have killed hundreds of Taliban prisoners by packing them into cargo bins and leaving them in the desert.
Nothing says love like cargo bins. I'm telling you.
But, and we can assume the worst of the new state, I guess. We got some bad news today that they are, the interim government, as they claim, is packed with hardliners. The gentleman that negotiated with the U.S. and other countries is merely a deputy prime minister, and the real prime minister is, he's on some terrorist watch list, I think. Some no-fly list.
Only Gitmo inmates need apply?
Yeah. But regardless of whether the Taliban is better than we think they'll be or worse, it's the U.S. is going to have vengeance on the people of Afghanistan. That's my opinion. And, it's who we are.
Well, it's gone from bad, as you mentioned, to worse.
Yeah.
Because Blinken is now admitting that the Taliban is blocking flights trying to depart out of Afghanistan, something he denied yesterday.
Oh.
But now his back's against the wall, so he has to
fess up.
Yep.
And surveys show only 12% of the population there are extremely fond of the Taliban.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
People of Afghanistan are somewhat more moderate than the extremist Sunni Muslims in the Taliban.
Well, they've been influenced by the secularism, like it or not, for a generation now.
Well, more than that, because think of the Russians when they were there.
Yeah, even there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can go online and see videos and pictures of women as they were treated under the Russia-friendly government, and they were walking around freely now.
And they are now. Again, apparently they've had some, local demonstrations for the world to see. I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last, but very interesting.
And they had without any covering?
No covering.
No covering at all. Okay.
In your face.
Yeah, that's in your face for sure. And that can have dire consequences. I mean, even in liberal Tehran, the women that I've seen on videos, they wear like a regular scarf and they push it up as far as they can, put their sunglasses on the top of their head.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to work in Afghanistan.
Very, very liberal dress.
Yeah. But they're not burqas. I mean, they're not forced to cover their face and go around in those creepy, full-fledged burqas.
Secularization is well underway, is what you're saying? And we can tell a lot about the culture, any culture, by what we wear and behave otherwise,
Yeah. Well, the Taliban have this same opinion as the ACLU does. The ACLU says, mandatory mask wearing is actually freedom. It actually makes you more free if the government tells you what to do.
That's the mindset.
And that's the Taliban's attitude towards women. I mean, the women are perfectly free as long as they obey their husbands.
And they're using that with COVID vaccination strategies as well. Same thing. Mm-hmm.
But,
you'll be liberated if you get the vaccination.
Yeah, but, just in case they have to be reminded, it's okay for a Muslim man to hit his wife upside the head now.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
As long as it's once in a while.
Well, in the Bible, it sanctions the slavery. Hebrews can, in the Bible, could have slaves, but it would be a terrible wrong if they beat them so badly they couldn't recover in 3 days.
Well, what Thomas Paine has to say about that book.
Yeah. Well, all the books. I mean,
there really isn't. There's nothing. There's no good one in there.
Yeah, that whole Muslim thing is just going to fall apart logically. I mean, they're going to fight it and deny it, but
they're already receiving Chinese aid.
Well, I mean, Muslim as a logical no religion is completely logical, but I mean
as a paradigm of the universe.
Yeah, what they call the sin, the standard Islamic narrative, that's what's falling apart. The whole idea that Abraham started the religion, and that black box in the middle of Mecca that they have to go around 7 times and then kiss the black stone.
Do I?
That's not what it's purported to be. There's no evidence that Abraham. We don't even know. We don't believe Abraham even existed.
No, we have no evidence.
But there's no evidence that Mecca was even a thing when Muhammad was alive. And the whole thing is if it's in trouble.
Yeah,
it's in trouble.
That's a good way to put
it. Did you know that 4,000 years ago, the Earth's magnetic field was 5 Gauss?
This overload.
Shannon Lawson here. Join us for the Nevada Radio Roundup, Fridays at 2 p.m. A good news variety show all about the local scene. The Nevada Roundup, Friday at 2.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor. My co-host, Leland Faegre. And,
MU, buddy.
MU?
MU. That's the new variant,
Okay.
They're all lined up.
Well, we're going to talk about our good friend Dr. Fauci.
Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci. And, the heading should be Fauci lied, millions died.
That's a good one. That's the writer in you, see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you said the heading?
Yeah.
I think there should be a B heading of Anthony Fauci. And I have said this with increasing intensity over the months since this thing came about.
Oh,
because now we know where this came from without any refutation. We know that he.
Well, no, we don't.
Yes,
really.
we do.
No.
Yes, we do.
We know that.
Not only did he want gain of function, he paid for it with our money.
Yes, but that doesn't mean it came from the lab.
Well,
that hasn't been proven yet.
That's not the crime where it came from. The
Yeah.
crime is that it was even initiated.
Yeah, sure. And, if it was initiated there, he did mention that somebody was doing the same thing in the U.S.
Yeah, and he probably did deflect or move the process around so that if
he was
something were to
following.
happen,
He was following the guidelines. So it's okay.
in some sort of legalese definition of gain of function.
Yeah. But not only were they working on SARS, but also the MERS vaccine. They were trying to push both of those into specially designed mice.
Well, he's been there for how many years? 45 years or something?
And there's more videos surfacing about how wrong he's been throughout his whole career.
Yeah. I mean, he worked on AIDS and all that stuff.
Yeah, he was pushing that AZT that made
Ebola. I mean, what wasn't
he
involved
predicted
with?
that Ebola would kill 1 million people in America?
Yeah. He just likes to hear himself or see himself in the thick of things, apparently. Yeah. As a mover and a shaker.
Well, we still haven't found out if he's getting a cut from the Gates Foundation or from Pfizer or somebody about all this stuff because he's constantly pushed vaccines throughout his whole career and nothing about any alternative therapies or prophylactics as they're called. Nothing about
and
that.
Therapeutics are a worthwhile way to approach this mess that he created for us. I mean, he's a mass murderer. I joke that Andrew Cuomo was a mass murderer. And he is.
Yep.
But nothing like this guy.
But the left obviously is not going to buy it. I mean, we had the Joe Rogan incident this week. Yeah, whether Joe Rogan, the popular podcaster on Spotify, he came down with COVID, and he said he was using all kinds of prophylactics, including ivermectin.
Right.
And so immediately the left jumped over it, and they wouldn't call it ivermectin. They called it
horse something, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they probably do use it on horses.
They do.
And so they're looking at this stuff. How can we get this guy?
Yeah,
this Rogan guy. And so they burn the midnight oil, and they come up with this link.
Horse dewormer. Horse dewormer.
Yeah, wormer.
Yeah.
So he's taking.
But I saw a post that said there's at least a dozen medications that are used both by humans and horses.
Oh, sure, yeah. But their constituency is so stupid that they just fall all over that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, in this.
But it was cruel. I mean, they were all they were all hoping he would get sick and die.
It's a death cult.
I know.
That party, the D in Democrat, stands for death. That's what they are.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question about it. They want to kill babies, even after they're born. These people are ugly. They're not even us. They're some sort of a mutant. They're not us. The whole idea of the gain of function, went from bats or from mice to bats, and then to what? Hippopotamuses, and then to Joe Rogan. I mean, these people are just. I can't imagine who is paying Rachel Maddow. Would you want these people in your life that they're still, with us, walking around?
No, none of these people ever go down. They always go up.
Yeah.
No matter how wrong they are, they always go up. Who are they calling about Afghanistan? Bill Kristol.
Nothing fails, and nothing succeeds like failure.
Yeah, exactly. In the government.
On the side of the aisle.
Yeah. And let's call up John Brennan and see what he thinks about Afghanistan. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah. Well, Brennan, it was his election fraud schemes that they followed. He was the architect of that. You can't convince me otherwise.
No.
That's where it came from.
I think so, yeah.
Now, what about Kristol? What were you going to say about him?
Well, no, just that he's still the go-to guy. He was brought in. Bolton was asked questions. Of course, George W. Bush is...
John Bolton?
Yeah, John Bolton. George W. Bush is all over the media. He's in Germany now, and he said it was terrible. Those poor women, it's just... We should have stayed there forever.
What's he doing in Germany?
I don't know. He's maybe selling his paintings. I don't know what he's doing.
He's got a gallery. He's opening up some galleries.
I don't know, but On the other hand, Russia is complaining about U.S. biolabs stationed too close to her borders. Apparently, a Ukrainian politician had the guts to claim that a UK biolab in the Ukraine is making people sick. And I say guts because people don't realize it, but Ukraine is really cracking down on the opposition under President Zelensky. And they've been shutting down newspapers and closing TV stations. And
by opposition, you mean?
Well, more or less Russia friendly. I mean,
I see.
Yeah, it could be even just Zelensky, opposed to Zelensky, without any, deal about Russia. But yeah. I chatted with the Ukrainian guy over, and, he was saying, well, under the previous administration, before the Maidan, it was so corrupt that I said, if you
see improvement now?
If you see improvement now? I was telling him, the IMF is going to bleed you dry.
Yeah.
They're going to leave you like a carcass in the desert.
Yeah, you don't want them turning up.
No. So we have all of these biolabs ourselves, and we know that we have done biological warfare. During the Korean War, we dropped rodents that were infected with smallpox or whatever onto the countryside. And China is accusing us, if we get to it, China in the next section, they're accusing us of waging biological warfare to their people. They can't, and they're asking for an investigation into the Fort Detrick and the other labs. But
I think there should be investigations in all of these potential bio warfare incubation centers.
Right?
Because that's what they are.
Uh-huh.
And we've got to be on to that because your tax dollars are paying for that.
Yes, and who knows what it will unleash. I mean, this one is bad enough.
Right.
Who knows what
MU, buddy. Yeah. MU. That's the next one. And by the way, they've found MU in 49 states already.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if Nevada is one.
Well, we're never the exception here in Nevada.
We're at 12% rate, I think, right now of COVID infection, which is holding steady. Apparently, it's leveling off right there at 12%. So. Been that way for a couple of weeks, I think.
12% of what?
COVID infection.
Of the people now currently?
New infections.
New infections. 12% of the total population?
Yeah. Well, yes, of those who are infected. I mean, of those who fall, victim of exposure to the virus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's where it is. That's what I heard on a competing radio station today. Not that they really compete with us, but
yeah. Well, that would seem to be pretty high, 12%.
Well, it was way down, below 5%. Until the variant came in.
Oh, okay.
See, it's all about the variant now.
Mm.
But now there's a new variant. MU, buddy.
MU. Where did this one supposedly generate from?
Heaven knows.
Yeah.
It's just all over the place now. So probably Latin America. They're probably bringing it across the board.
Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that J that was supposed to be coming out of Colombia. JU.
JU. Yeah. All you can do is laugh because what's the alternative?
From the office of Dr. Fauci, directly to you.
Yeah, with your money.
Yes.
I mean, this whole idea of direct taxation has got to go. Because they're using our money against us.
Right.
Period.
Well, you know what I think about that.
No, what do you think about that?
I think the income tax is only for government-associated privileged income, and it's a classical liberal tax. It's an excise tax. It's not a tax on the ordinary workers because you have a right to the fruits of your labor, and nothing can change that.
But the programs that our money find itself sponsoring is where the liability is,
right.
The concern is.
Right.
Because a lot of these departments, almost all of it, is unconstitutional.
Oh, yeah.
So that has got to end. Starting with public schools.
Independent federal agencies. That was supposed to be what...
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Hello, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor. I'm here with Leland Faegre and Shanimal Lawson and the board, or at the board, or... Okay.
Yeah, around there somewhere.
Around there somewhere.
We're in the corral.
So, we had news, amazing, startling news.
We did?
Yeah, China, the Chinese Communist Party is becoming more communist.
Huh. What are the odds of that happening?
China has announced a new national economic policy in which excessive wealth, or Deng Xiaoping's, getting wealthy is socialist philosophy, is being tempered by emphasis on poverty reduction and social cohesion. Now, Tucker Carlson actually covered this and with approval the other day, and we're going to have to see how this works out.
Common prosperity.
Common prosperity.
Isn't that the expression they're using? And translated into English, I think that's how it translates.
So
it's got the billionaires running for cover.
Yeah. Jack Ma couldn't.
I was just thinking, was it just Jack Ma heard about this?
Yeah, he couldn't get into cover fast enough.
Hasn't he been kind of?
Well, he disappeared.
In an undisclosed
he kind of
location?
disappeared for a few weeks, and then when he came out, he had been
months.
fined at a couple of $1 billion, I think.
I thought it was a lot longer than that. I thought it was for an
It could have been
extended
a
period of
month,
time.
or I don't think it was more than a month or two.
Okay.
Several weeks, anyway. And then China imposed more regulations on its stock market, resulting in a loss of value. And so Tucker feels that China is becoming more populist and is concerned more with the welfare of its people and not just its gross domestic product.
This is CNN.
So this is from an article that was written by a young Chinese activist and was put in the Communist Party organs for general distribution. And it said, "This is a return from the capitalist group to the masses of the people. This is a transformation from capital-centered to people-centered," the commentary said. And it said it marked a return to the original intention of the Communist Party. And now, during the article, he basically said that national security is a big reason for this. The article states that the U.S. has launched biological warfare, cyber warfare, and public opinion warfare against China. And they can't rely on their big capitalists as the main force of the anti-imperialist and anti-hegemonism because there's too much incentive for their big capitalists to cooperate with the U.S. Now, what this is kind of amusing because they said they're not going to cooperate with the U.S. tittytainment strategy. Because our young people, if they become too influenced by U.S. culture, our young people will lose their strong and masculine vibes. And we will collapse like the Soviet Union before we are even attacked.
And like us.
Yes, exactly.
Subsequently like us.
So they may have a point there, huh?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. So that's a new word there, tittytainment. I wonder if that'll go viral. But
if we're using it here on Talking Truth Power, it's already viral.
It's already going viral. Oh, yeah.
No, Jack Ma was nowhere to be found for at least 2 months.
Yeah.
About it here, and I don't know when he actually turned up, so I'm still looking. But please proceed.
somebody would wish that, a lot of us would wish that somebody would pull Zuckerberg in like that and have him disappear for a couple of months.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's, not going to happen under our system. But under the profound transformation underway in China is aimed to respond to the U.S.'s brutal and ferocious attacks, and the curbs on the entertainment sector under the previous administration were far from adequate, as ordinary workers and people should become the main characters on movie screens. Now, most of us don't get to see these Chinese movies, but they have a lot of, colorful displays, big, legends and so on from their history. So it looks like they're going to try and push them to become more like social realism under the Soviet Union, where it's all the common people and building tractors and doing that sort of thing. So we'll see. I mean,
does the NBA know this?
I don't have anything new for you on that, and we'll circle back with you directly. I can circle back. I'll circle back with you.
So we are assured by the author of the article that there will be no rampages of Maoist students through libraries or re-education camps for party members.
Well, that didn't work out well.
No.
So I don't think they want to do that again.
Yeah, so, and whatever they do, you got to remember that the Chinese, young people in China are very tech savvy. And if they want to see titty-tainment, they'll find a way to see it.
Well, I would think so. They can't be completely hermetically sealing the culture around the world from their own. They have to be getting some of it, but the question is how much. I don't know.
Yeah, the Great Firewall of China, they block a lot of the internet, but apparently, the Chinese people know how to use a VPN,
Right.
So, and they can get around a lot of that. So... But,
those tech-savvy Chinese, I'm telling you.
Yeah. But, whatever they do, they just got to remember they can't lose their strong and masculine vibes.
That's because when you think of masculinity, you think of China, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently they're going to crack down somewhat on the gays. We don't know how much, and they're going to...
that I believe.
Yeah. And crack down on watching titty-tainment, so there won't be any...
It's just vice in general, I would think, is what they're going, where they're going for there.
Now, I haven't been to China, but I understand, massages with a happy ending are very frequent over there.
But I kind of like the music.
Yeah, the music. You like Chinese music?
I like ethnic music.
Yeah. It's quite nice, but we'll see if this has any ramifications for us here in America. If it means that they're going to do anything about trade with America or anything.
Oh, it's going to have ramifications, all right. If they sneeze, we catch a cold. That's just the way it is, and that's the way Biden wants it, by the way.
Yeah. Well, so far, the Chinese have done a pretty good job of putting Blinken in his place. And
he did that to himself.
Wendy Sherman, she got the go around.
I never thought I'd agree with John McCain on much of anything, but his attempt to keep Blinken out of the administrative role that the Senate had to vote on a few years back, he was right about that.
Oh yeah,
he's not competent. And Biden says he's sure China's going to work out the Taliban. So,
well, it's in China's best interest to work out a deal with the Taliban. Of course it is. And so we'll see. They may have expressed disapproval over the interim government to some extent.
I doubt that they care about that. It's all commerce for them.
They don't want anything to do with terrorism, and if this president they feel he might turn to some kind of terrorism, then that's what would concern them.
Well, they wouldn't want their imprimatur on terrorism.
No.
But, I mean, they'll just look the other way.
To what they're doing in their own country?
No, in Afghanistan.
Yeah, in Afghanistan. Oh, sure. that's their whole thing. They're not going to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries.
They want that rare earth stuff and anything else they can pull out of the ground, and the Belton Road.
Yep. They want it, and that's not a bad thing, but we're going to have to see what happens there, and hopefully it will not affect us, and the hawks that we have talking about reinvasion will go away.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen either.
I don't think the American people would stand for it.
Well, that may be, but if there's a major event,
yeah,
I mean, don't we forget that that elites were warning us about transportation on ship-carrying cruises prior to the Lusitania going down, and that there were warnings about Pearl Harbor before Pearl Harbor were attacked, and those were demonstrable events for human history.
You mean we ignored those warnings?
We did. Well, we didn't really ignore them. We knew they were there, but as far as making them public, no. Let us know that that was going on. Yeah.
But I thought government's primary job was protecting us.
Well, the world, was aware after the fact, but FDR knew all along what was happening.
Yep, there's all kinds of proof about that and evidence that he knew that the Japanese were going to attack Pearl Harbor.
The world was surprised, but FDR was not.
No.
It was the fact. And they could be leading up to a major conflagration false flag event that'll take us to 3.
Oh, well.
That's what I see.
Yeah, World War III, yes. Yeah. Whether it comes against Iran or against, or somehow in Afghanistan, something is going to create a vortex that's going to try to pull us in.
And then into the UN.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now, back to the show.
It's time for another episode of Jews in the News.
Music sounds good. Jewish music.
Hey, Connie. Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre, and it's time for another segment of Jews in the News. And then before we get into that, we will have to give the Anti-Defamation League required disclaimer. So we know that Israel is our greatest ally in the Middle East, and it's the only democracy in the Middle East. And they don't throw gay people off of roofs.
No, they don't do that.
And any time that we observe Jewish people behaving badly, we must remember each and every time it's always our fault.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a couple of quickies here. The first one is concentration camp anarchism. The famous Jewish leftist Noam Chomsky says the right response to the unvaccinated is to insist that they be isolated from society. What a good anarchist he is.
I had a conversation with Noam Chomsky online several years ago. Yeah. He was engaging. That's the thing about that guy. And I asked him about the CFR, and he just effectively dismissed it as being insignificant. Yeah. I still have the conversation on my website if you want to check it out. Yeah.
Now, the Sackler family, Jewish family, who owns Purdue Pharma, maker of OxyContin, has been given immunity from bankruptcy court from any future opioid lawsuits. I guess that's white privilege.
Well, it was for Rush Limbaugh.
No, I'd just like to know how much the left calls white privilege is actually Jewish privilege. Somebody should do a study on that sometime. All right.
The distinction would be important. Yeah.
Yes. Now, former Obama security advisor Ben Rhodes admitted in a book that Glenn Greenwald, well, he didn't admit it publicly, but Glenn Greenwald found it and pointed it out, that Edward Snowden, you know, the whistleblower,
The real whistleblower.
right, did not intentionally go to China in order to seek asylum in Russia. Now, that was the official testimony of Rhodes before Congress. Do you think he could be joining Fauci with a criminal referral for this?
For lying to Congress?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. And it's widely accepted by a lot of people, you know, in the media and in the defense establishment.
Oh, yeah, they accept that stuff.
Snowden was a traitor, and he deliberately went to Russia so he could give Putler
Yeah.
the information.
Let's be honest, they're not journalists.
No.
They're propagandists.
I would like to point out a little quirk here, that Rhodes was born to an Episcopalian father, but he has a Jewish mother.
Is that legal?
Since Jewish ethnicity is passed through the female, that definitely makes Rhodes Jewish. Now, the Jewish religion has frowned on Jews marrying outside their tribe for over 350 years.
Shame, shame, shame.
Yes. So if a Gentile man marries a Jewish woman, that's looked on more favorably because at least the children will be Jewish. But if a Jewish man marries a Gentile woman, then his seed is lost to the tribe forever.
It's a big
What
club.
a tragedy.
I hate to hear a thing
And
like
you
that
ain't in
happen.
it.
Yeah, so I suppose a traditional conservative Jew would look down on Kamala Harris's marriage to Michael Imhoff, but there are no conservative Jews in Washington, D.C. or Hollywood.
They're hard to find, yeah.
But what Rhodes did is he boasted in a new book that he and the Obama administration blocked Snowden in Moscow from his planned itinerary to Cuba, and in order to change in Cuba to fly to either Ecuador or Bolivia, whoever would give him sanctuary. Now, Rhodes says that he traded Snowden to Cuba, to Raul Castro at the time under the Obama administration, for promises of sanctions relief, which Obama did grant Cuba. But that left Snowden trapped in the Moscow airport, frantically trying to book new flights out, but he found out he was on a no-fly list. And so finally, negotiations with Putin resulted in Russia granting Snowden amnesty, and I understand now he's a resident alien applying for Russian citizenship.
That's been going on
so
for a
he
while,
can
hasn't
bring
it?
his family into Russia. What, applying
Snowden's application for...
It takes a while, yeah. He's a resident alien, but I think I don't know if he passed the test yet or not. I mean, I read this a couple of months ago, but, you know. So, you know,
Vice President got excited about it.
I know it. I know it's a racist trope, but somehow, you know, the idea that Jews tell the truth when they're describing things like this doesn't seem to be the case. But anyway, the second article that's in the news is something I picked up. It's called "Our Bolshevik Government." Not since the halcyon days of Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky, Grigory Zinoviev, Lev Kamenev, Nikolai Bukharin.
How about Irving Kristol? Is he in there?
Well, he came later and he was in America, but and Joe Stalin, who eventually had all of them murdered after Lenin died, have so many Marxist, Zionist, chosen people have this much power in federal government. White House Chief of Staff, Klain. State Department, Blinken, Sherman, Newland. Treasury, Yellen. Centers for Disease Control, Walensky. Department of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. Cybersecurity, Neuberger. CIA, Cohen.
Really cozy, isn't it?
Council of Economic Advisors, Bernstein. The FCC, Rosenworcel. The SEC, Gensler. Anti-Semitism Special Monitor, Lipstadt. The National Security Council, Bordazar, Jacobson. Council on Gender Policy, Klein. COVID response, Zients. U.S. Commission on Religious Freedom, Kleinbaum. U.S. Ambassador to the EU, Geitenstein.
Goya need not apply, huh?
The Vice President's first man, Emhoff. Senate Majority Leader, Schumer. House Majority Leader, Pelosi, she's Catholic, but she's long, deep ties to Zionism and all things Jewish. President Biden, another Catholic whose devotion to Zion was recently proven because he literally genuflected, bent the knee to the Jewish bloodlines. Possibly most important for today's topic, Attorney General Merrick Garland, née Garfinkel. Yeah, that was the family's original name.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, I know it's pure evil to even think about it, and I would never want to do anything that would be
No, you wouldn't want
described as anti-Semitic or passing along discounted and unproven tropes, and but
we don't do that here.
No, it just seems like there's a lot of power in the hands of a tribe that comprises only 1.77% of our population. I know they're smart and all, but geez.
How do you quantify that kind of power anyway among that number of percentage of the population? That's just
I know.
astronomical.
That's only scratching the surface.
Yeah, right.
When you get into the private sector and all that. Now, all of these people have very little private sector experience. They're all government apparatchiks. And they invariably place the interest of the state over the interest of the individual. They are high IQ people, but drawn to abstract ideologies, but with little knowledge or empathy for the real people of America. Now, Garland's record on the bench on the D.C. Circuit is marked by deference to federal agencies and often ruling against individual rights. And he did all that while hiding under the reputation of, he's a safe liberal. He's not going to do too much.
And that was oft repeated by a lot of the Republican crowd.
Yeah.
The spineless Republican league of people in the Senate in particular, that they just dismiss their significance in the role of things, and they have every opportunity to vote down these people, and they don't use it. And Garland was a special case, I think.
Yeah, he's a sworn enemy of federalism. He wants to transform the federal government and centralize it.
Witness the abortion law in Texas.
Right. And he wants to expand the Supreme Court. He wants to keep the Republicans down by attacking their voters as white supremacists. He ardently supports the global war on terror, but now he wants to create a global war on domestic terrorism or domestic war on terror.
You and I.
Yeah. He wants to transform the Middle East with regime change in Iran. The latest slogan is to destroy Iran with death by 1,000 cuts. I think that's what Naftali Bennett was referring to in the Jewish media when he met with Biden recently.
Biden wouldn't know because he fell asleep.
And then after Iran is rendered, neutralized, Russia will be neutered and plundered again. So Israel likes central power. It's much easier to lobby and influence central power than it is dispersed power.
Absolutely.
So,
and just a quick segue to Arizona. I know that was unlikely, but the storm hath arrived, and the results from the canvassing efforts in Arizona are now out. 173,000 missing votes, 96,000 ghost votes. And remember, Biden only won by 12,000.